発 いいね
Hey everyone, SilverRox here, and the units coming this week to Octopath for CotC are the second half of the Dragon Quest III collaboration event, Wave 2. This video is covering Partitio EX, the martial artist, and he did indeed break the mold of the other 5 units by receiving some choice and spicy buffs. So what does the martial artist do in Octopath Traveler Champions of the Continent? Well, as there is no martial artist class, he is taking on the role of a thief, which makes him a dagger DPS. His special abilities is that he grants himself massive buffs when landing crits that can change his skills and can deal double damage with crits. And he is also secretly the 9th Kate Sage with a special Kate costume you can unlock. His preferred weapons are brilliant daggers for damage cap, and preferred accessories would be damage cap, all you can give as you cannot get enough. For his passive skills, his basic passive, which was buffed, is that the attack command can exploit staff weakness. And when he spends 1 or more BP with skills, he grants the front row Soul Sigil for 2 turns. As a reminder, Soul Sigil is the Dragon Quest character unique passive buff that grants 5% physical attack, physical defense, magic defense up, and for some Dragon Quest characters also changes their skills. He was buffed to gain 2 extra effects with his basic passive. That when he spends 2 or more BP with skills, he'll grant himself an HP regen for 2 turns, 80 regen power. It's nice, but it's not really going to matter that much because his magic attack isn't that high, but it's something. The really good buff that he got was that when he spends 3 or more BP with skills, he'll grant himself 50,000 damage cap up for 2 turns. This is really good, but just keep in mind that this is when spending BP with skills, which means it's not going to take effect before the turn. It's going to take effect after the action. So if when it does 2 turns of like damage cap up, that's really only 50,000 damage cap up for the next turn as its passive damage cap up, unless you have another source of passive damage cap up, or you have like Lucetta or Mabel behind him to extend buffs that he gets. So there would be 3 turns and it would last 2 turns. So just keep that in mind. Just keep in mind it's very easy for using something like Rinyu EX A4, for example, and you're swapping rows with your row partner or something like that. Then those passive damage cap ups would stack with Partitio's, allowing him to self-extend it and things like that. Also, so his 1-star passive is that when he lands a crit, grant himself Sun Sigil. Sun Sigil is a unique buff with no duration that enhances skills, and some skills will remove it afterwards. And what it does is it grants Partitio EX a 1 BP regen, very important with because he wants to use BP to get himself damage cap up often now, and 30% critical rate up, and 100,000 damage cap up. His 3-star skill is to raise his crit multiplier of self from 1.25, like 1.25% times to 1.4 times. And if he has Soul Sigil, raise it to 2 times instead. This is what allows him to do massive damage with crits, and his slightly lower stats doesn't matter. His TP passive is that he grants himself 30% physical attack up, and then while at full HP, add 30% of his crit stat to physical attack. This actually makes up even more for his lower physical attack stat, as it just gets improved by using his crit stat to, replace what was missing. The TP level 2 buff in the future is that also at full HP, he'll raise the passive P attack buff limit to 50%. Just as a note, remember the TP level 2 is not yet released for global, just kind of listing it for the future. Onto his skills. His base kit is a 2-hit single target dagger that exploits staff, plus inflicts 15% speed down for 2 turns. With Sun Sigil, it's a 3-hit single target instead. Then he has a 3-hit AoE dagger that exploits staff, and with Sun Sigil, it becomes a 4-hit AoE instead, but removes Sun Sigil after the action. Then he has a 2-hit single target dagger that exploits staff, and inflicts 15% physical defense down for 2 turns. And with Sun Sigil, it becomes 3 hits instead, but then removes Sun Sigil. Then he has a self 30% physical attack / critical up for 3 to 6 turns. Then the next 2-star skill was also buffed. Removes blind from self, then 3-hit single target dagger, so it's 3 hits instead of 2. Exploits staff, and this cannot be dodged or blocked. With Soul Sigil, it now guarantees critical hits. And with Sun Sigil, it becomes a 5-hit single target instead, but removes Sun Sigil after the action. So the reason, one of the buffs that a lot of them you'll get notice is all the skills that say with Soul Sigil guaranteed critical hits is new and was given to him as a buff. This basically means that you don't have to worry about giving him dead aim from his ultimate now. If you have Soul Sigil, which is really easy for him to give himself constantly by using BP on any skill, or if he's on the team with any other Dragon Quest character, it's very easy to keep Soul Sigil active at all times. So basically, he's always going to be able to deal critical hits, and therefore he can always have Sun Sigil up because he keeps using it after the action. But if you keep getting it the next turn, so he can just keep alternating and getting it back every single turn. Or every other turn specifically. Then his 3-star skill was also buffed. They changed it to where he inflicts the AoE 15% dagger/staff res down for 2 turns before attacking, then does the 3-hit AoE dagger that exploits staff. With Soul Sigil, it has guaranteed critical hits, and with Sun Sigil, it becomes a 5-hit AoE instead, but then removes Sun Sigil after the action. So yeah, the main thing about it is, because of how it works, just to make it clear, when you have Sun Sigil, you're getting that extra damage cap and the BP regen, but as soon as you use a skill that takes away Sun Sigil, then the next turn you're not going to have it, then you got to get it back. So when you're doing nukes, you'll be able to do one good nuke, one weaker nuke, and that's just how it works. And that's important for his 4-star skill and mainly his 5-star skill, which got buffed. So his 4-star skill is that it's just a single ally, 10% physical attack, physical defense, magic defense, crit, and speed up for 2 to 5 turns, and cleanse all the same stat debuffs from the target. And if done at max boost, it targets the front row instead. And so this has a useful niche. His 5-star skill is an 8-hit random target dagger that exploits staff. With Soul Sigil, guaranteed critical hits. And with Sun Sigil, becomes a 10-hit random target instead, but removes Sun Sigil after the action. So this skill was massively buffed. This went from a 4-hit random target dagger to 6 hits with Sun Sigil, to 8 hits base to 10 hits. This skill alone lets him outdo Kaine as a dagger DPS, so like this is very, very potent. So I would definitely keep this in mind. This is now his best skill in the game, like just by far. Like if you do the math about it, like even though because Kaine does have a 10 hit, but it's her EX skill, and it's a lot harder to get because you have to make sure she gets damaged. So, and even then she can only do it once. Whereas he can just do this all the time. So at minimum on break, he's doing 18 hits on break minimum now. And if it's a 3-turn break using Nier, then he can do 10, 8, 10. So he is now the best dagger DPS in the game, just slightly edging Kaine out. You'll see with his EX skill as well. That's the reason why, because he just has the ability to give himself potency up. You'll see in a minute. And he has way more damage cap up. So yeah, this skill is just very important. So you're going to be able to and because of how Soul Sigil works, you're going to be able to do guaranteed critical hits like always. So you'll be doing a 10 hit, then you can do the 8 hit with guaranteed critical hits, which is just going to give you the Sun Sigil back. So it's just an infinite loop. Then his other 5-star skill is a 1-hit single target dagger that exploits staff, and at max boost the power is increased by 2.5 times, making it even stronger. This was buffed from 1.5 to 2.5. And then with Soul Sigil, the skill gains a bonus 300,000 damage cap up, and at 6-star this bonus damage cap up with Soul Sigil is increased to 500,000. They buff the damage cap increase, and they buff the power. That doesn't really matter because it's only a 1-hit single target, and even with the TP level 2 thing you'll see later, it really doesn't matter. But it's cool. I mean, it's cool for big number, but since it's only 1 hit, like I said, it doesn't matter. His TP active is a self 30% dagger damage up, plus 30,000 damage cap up for 3 to 6 turns. With TP level 2, it actually grants 100,000 damage cap instead, plus Fighting Spirit, which means BP isn't consumed when used. So this is a really good buff. Unfortunately, TP level 2 is not released yet for global, but when he does get it, this will help him out a good bit. So for his EX skill plus ultimate technique, his EX skill has 2 total uses, and it's unlocked when he has Soul Sigil, which is a very easy condition to meet. Able to have that by turn 2 every single fight in the game. What it does is it restores himself, it gives himself back 5 BP, and then grants himself 150 potency up, plus 100,000 damage cap up for 3 to 6 turns, so you're always going to want to max boost this, because you're just getting the BP back anyway. But yeah, that's 150 potency up, 50% potency up, and if you combine that on his 10 times 80 power skill, that 80 power is a lot better now, because it's 80 power with 150% potency on top of that, which makes it 200, so yeah, that's plenty strong to reach damage cap. His ultimate technique is a support class ultimate called the Martial Aura. It gives himself 10% physical attack and slash dagger damage up and dead aim for 3 turns, and if used at 200% charge, it becomes 4 turns instead. At ultimate level 10, the buffs scale to 15% each, and at ult 20, the buffs scale to 20% each. They do not change on turn duration with a higher level. They are set at 3 or 4 turns, so you just want to use this at 200% if you can. At ultimate level 20, it gets 40% charge per BP. 80% charge with AU, 4 BP to fully charge, 2 BP with AU. 200% gauge activation is back surge, which means he can cast his ult from the back row before his ally acts. AU priority, if you get any dupes and will actively use them, get AU first. His lower stats really do not matter with double crit damage and 150% potency up, so more ult uses to maximize that damage could matter more. Onto his Awakenings plus A4 accessory plus TP level 2 bonus. His A1 is great for any DPS, especially with his rather low P attack. However, his 2x crit damage modifier makes up for it. A2 is a luxury. A3 is, HP is always good. His A4 accessory is called the Exotoga. It grants 100 physical attack, 100 crit, and negative 60 magic attack. And what it does is when landing a critical hit, grants self 30% dagger damage up for 2 turns, plus raise the buff limit for passive dagger damage up buffs to 50% for 2 turns. And when an ally breaks an enemy, grant the front row Soul Sigil for 2 turns. And finally, hit the A4 tier rating for this is I give this a B tier. It has decent stats, and Soul Sigil and Break really does not matter that much, but it can help. The extra dagger damage from critical hits is nice, but if you're not constantly landing crits, it runs out in duration fast. So it's not really super worth chasing, but it's neat to get if you decide to chase Signa EX's A4 though. The TP level 2 bonus with both active and passive level 2s unlocked is the damage cap multiplier, which is the total skill potency times 0.0025 plus 0.75 equals the total damage cap multiplier. This multiplier multiplies every source of damage cap by this value for that attack. Minimum potency needed is 500 for a 2 times multiplier. Only skill potency matters, which does not include any modifiers to power present within the skill itself, which does include modifiers within the skill itself. Potency up from other buffs and do not count towards this. This basically just makes that one-hit nuke actually not terrible, as it'll take all that damage cap it has plus all of the damage cap for that single hit, and it would basically allow him to hit probably over 10 million damage with one hit. But like I said, that's cool. It's only a single hit, so it doesn't really matter. You'll see that explained in Signa EX's video. Go watch that about that, how there's another unit coming out that just does it way better than even both of them combined, so... But it's cool. For an optimal skill loadout, I would just take for the skills, I would take his self 30% dagger damage up and 30,000 damage cap up. His self 30% physical attack and crit up, so that way you have 2 skills to get them all buffed up and ready. And then you just have his skill 3, his 8 to 10 hit random target dagger, and just start wailing away with that. Just boom, 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 hits, just slam, 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 slam. Skill 4, if you have A2, then you can take the 3 to 5 hit AoE dagger that debuffs first. That can allow him to help with a little bit of support. Most all his other buffs are pretty selfish, but like I said, I mean, it gives you options, because like if you run this like in a dagger build, a lot of the dagger DPSs are kind of selfish, but can also share the benefits to Tiziano as well, so you can make it work. So on to unit synergy, Lucetta, pet stacking buffs to extend damage cap horse on Partitio EX, and to extend his passive damage cap buff on self. Kaine is now an excellent dagger DPS to bring alongside. Now she has barely lost the title of best dagger DPS, but she is still amazing at dagger, and is a great dagger DPS to bring alongside him if you want. Tiziano, the best dagger support in the business. Bargello, another great dagger support option and damage cap giver. Canaries, the best dagger breaker in the game. Shauna, best support healer in the game. Signa, amazing ult debuffs. And Moruso EX, rainbow buff allows hitting any weakness in the game, and the 100k damage cap A4. Not net A4, ultimate, because you can never have too much damage cap on your main damage dealer. Alright, so to pull or not to pull plus rating. Partitio EX is one of those units that is so close to something truly amazing that falls flat right at the end, except Netties realized this and gave him some buffs. Just getting a 10-hit dagger alone now actually makes him the strongest dagger DPS in the game, even edging out Kaine. He isn't besting the best physical DPSs in the game by any stretch, but for pure dagger teams, there's a new king in town. And it can also be a good sub DPS for pure physical comps now as well. As always, pull advice is just advice, but please pull responsibly. Tier 4 free to play. Despite the buffs, I'd still say skip them just because this banner's relatively still lower value. But hope you get him from the free pool, as he's now the best option to get from the free pool. Tier 3, low spin / passes. Skip unless you love Thieves and Dagger. Tier 2, Dolphin. A0 is enough for Dagger DPSing options and shenanigans. Tier 1, Whale. A4 and AU if you must. Overall rating, his DPS has shot up from basically like C tier to S tier. Like even 4 more hits can do that. And the extra damage cap. His support is still D. Not available for healing and tank. Overall tier A+. I would say that, yeah, I put him at C+ tier before the buffs, and then just getting those 4 extra hits alone is enough that it puts him to a solid A tier. I don't think he's an S tier unit anymore. I know back at last year, for example, when Kaine first released, she was actually considered SS tier. Now, if I were to re-rate Kaine now, she would also only be A tier. That's just because of how far the power creeps come in such a little amount of time. Because when I do give units ratings, I do rate them based on the current meta state that they are in the game on release. Because rating, that's the best time to pull, is if you're going to use a unit, you want to use it now. Because technically speaking, the rule of gacha is if you keep waiting and never ever pull, there's always going to be power creep. So at some point, you're going to need to pull and play with what you got and try to find the units that last the longest, or just have fun with it. And Partitio EX is a very fun unit to use. And he just gets more fun because now he can actually do a decent amount of hits to actually keep up with things and actually do well in the meta. He's not going to be the best in the game by any stretch, but like if you're using meta physical teams, he can be a sub DPS now. Like, because remember, like, yeah, Dark Knight does 15 hits, but then you can have Partitio EX there if you want now, instead of Kaine. Like, there's just, you have options. And because he also has the Kate suit, so he can be really cool if you like Kates. So, you know, it's a good job on this one for NetEase. It's a pretty good buff. I mean, they didn't make him, like, overpowered or broken, which is probably the best way to buff units. You don't want to just suddenly make them overpowered or broken, because that's really silly. So, yeah, I'll give them good credit on this one, and thanks for everyone for watching. Please like and subscribe for more COTC content to come. I will be pulling for all 3 of the Dragon Quest Wave 2 units, because I am a unit collector, so I will be trying to get at least 1 of each. I do not know if I'm chasing Signa EX84 yet. I really hope that I get to, if I get a couple of Partitio, I could do some clears with him, because that would be pretty fun to do. And let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. See ya.